Let's go to Chris in Omaha. What's up, Christopher?
How are you, sir? Good to be here.
Thank you, brother. What's up, man?
Man, it's an honor. So I am a former teacher. I'm an author, speaker, comedian. I work with a lot of schools in building resilient kids, mentally, social, emotional learning, that whole realm. And I know oppositional defiance disorder. I know it's a clinical diagnosis, but myself and my wife, as good Christian parents, we like to think of ourselves. I'm looking for your opinion.
Wait, hold on. You like to think of yourselves as what? Good parents?
As good Christian parents.
Yeah. All right, good Christian. I can't wait for this. You set it up well. So what's the? I can't wait for the payoff here.
I'm wondering your professional opinion. Oppositional defiance disorder. I know it's a clinical diagnosis, but where? I guess my question is, it seems like it's more of an excuse over the last number of years for a lack of parenting skills, at least from my vantage point. And I'm just looking to get your opinion on that, where you stand on stuff like that.
Okay. So I'll give you a rundown, but I want to make sure the line is clear here. So as good Christian parents, you're raising your kids to fill in the blank when it comes to behavior and response and all that. And so they are living up to your expectations that you're setting as good Christian parents. Other kids are out of control, exhibiting these behaviors at school, lashing out, being ugly with teachers, violence, those kind of things. And the line is back to people who aren't serving as good Christian parents. Is that the line here? I want to make sure I'm answering your question.
The line is more of, it seems to me that the boundary has been moved back to kind of make an excuse for the disrespect, I guess the overall disrespect and the behavioral issues, and they've put a label on it now of, the oppositional defiance disorder.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to start by answering it this way. I don't know if I've told this on the show or not. I don't know. I feel like I repeat myself all the time. Maybe I don't. So when my son was born, I had just graduated with my first PhD, and there's nothing worse than someone who just graduates with a graduate school. The worst. I was an idiot. I just put it on everything, on my email signature, told everybody. I was annoying. And my wife has a PhD. She's brilliant, and her scholarship, her research was about working with kids. And so when my son comes along, we were older. We'd waited a while, and then it took us years to actually have him. He comes along, and he's pretty much perfect. We were incredible. And I remember at some point at like age 2 or 3, I was like, I think every other parent's an idiot. Why are we even working at universities? We should go on the road and write the greatest parenting book because everyone else is stupid. And my wife, in her classic way she deals with me, is she just nods and just goes on about her day because she knows that she married a moron. And I really was like, man, why is this so hard? Like, just have high expectations and then have high discipline and have a high accountability and whatever. And then my daughter came along. And I don't know where she's from. It is not here. It's not here. And I realized in short order, we just rolled the dice well, the first one. Actually, we've rolled the dice incredible with the second one, too. They're just different kids. So I preface it with that to tell you this. I think like ADHD, like oppositional defiant disorder, like much of anxiety, depression is out there on its own, so I'm not going to mess with that one in this call because that's got all kinds of other things going on with it. I think a number of these diagnostics have gone from label to, I'm trying to think of the right word off the top of my head, label to core issue instead of representing an environment. Okay? So what your question is, I think is not really the right question because you're asking an either or question. Is this real, or is this if parents would just suck it up and start parenting their kids right, this would go away? And the answer is more complex than that. I'll answer true ODD. Yeah, you know me. True oppositional defiant disorder, right? It's a diagnosis, and there is no test for it. You can't draw blood for it, right? It is not rendered lightly. To quote an article, it's not rendered lightly. It takes a while to come to this thing. And so now, especially in schools, we do have people who throw this label all over the place. No question about it. If you've ever met a truly ODD child, you go, oh. So to answer, is it real? Yes. Is it over diagnosed? I think probably 10x. But here's where that I don't like saying that out loud, because it's the kids who pay for it, not their school systems, and not their parenting systems, and not their grandparenting systems, and not their legacy trauma issues. Because when we say something like, yeah, you don't really have oppositional defiant disorder, we take a dysregulated child, and a dysregulated child is just telling you they're not safe, and they're not connected, and they're not okay. They got nobody looking out for them. They got nobody on their team. And that can be everything from a school that starts at 6:15 a.m. and the kid has no sleep because mom is working 3 jobs, and the babysitter maybe shows up most of the time and brings a half a box of macaroni, right? So you've got nutritional, you've got sleep, you've got supervision, you've got all kinds of things that, as a stable parenting home of 2, where y'all make enough money that things are able to happen in a certain way, okay? So that's my loose answer to say, yes, when it's real, it's super, super real. Super real. Like chemically, neurologically real. And I think many kids are desperate for boundaries, desperate for accountability, but underneath all that, they are desperate to be looked in the eyes and told they are loved, and to be shown they are loved through food and sleep and accountability and hard work and throwing a ball, and moms and dads putting their cell phones down, and grandparents not abusing mom and dad still. Does that make you hear what I'm saying now?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of where I was leaning. I just, I wanted to hear the professional opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Probably, way overdiagnosed, but there are legit cases.
And I'm joining a chorus of professionals who are moving wholesale away from 95% of diagnostics because they're simply not helpful, number one. Number two, you've got, it's not like you take a strep test. You go to any number of counselors and they're going to give you, or a psychologist, they're going to give you different diagnostics, or depending on which inventory they give you, they're going to come up with, so the whole spectrum of diagnostics, I think, is under fire here, and it should be. And I think the chorus of blame, so if you hear my show, I rarely go after, like, you parents need to, and except when it comes to cell phones and screens, yeah, then I get after people. But it's bigger than that. So instead of saying, hey, you know what you just did? You did this. What I want to do is I want to give people a bunch of tools and say, make your kid go to bed at 7:15 until they're in high school, or 7:30, or absolute max 8, and they're going to think it's child abuse. Or if you miss hanging out with your kid because you don't have community or you don't have these things, make your kids do chores, which means, this happened to me the other day. I went into my son's room. I was like, what? Like, how do you live like this? And I walked down the hall into my room and I thought, I learned it by watching you, Dad, right? I have to do these things too. If I say, don't walk past the dog's bowl when it doesn't have any food and water, just fill it up. Then that means I got to stop and do it every time, right? So I'm talking about, let's give parents some tools, and grandparents some tools, and communities some tools, and schools some tools for wholesale change. Not just saying, that's not even real, y'all need to suck it. You hear what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so that's my, it is real, it is overdiagnosed. I think the important thing to do right now is to tell kids that we love them and to show them we love them. And God, I could say that over and over again. Show your kids you love them. Show your kids you love them. Hold their hands, read their dumb stories, put your phones away. Let them mow the yard with you, even though it's going to take 8 times longer. Let them clean the car with you, which is going to take 1,000 more years. And you can't cuss when you find old gum in the seat. You just got to take it because you're going to be a grown-up. My son and daughter came and said, hey, can we climb up on top of the barn? And we stacked a bunch of buckets together, and how about y'all use the ladder? I didn't want them, but they need to do hard things. They need to be able to fall down. Love your kids. Show them that you love them.